welcome back to One Hit Wonderland, where we take a look at bands and artists known for only one song. Today, and for the rest of the year most likely, we'll be looking at another one of the requests I sold on Patreon. And what I appreciate most about these Patreon requests is that I get to explore bands that I might have overlooked otherwise. And, yeah, you can definitely say that I had no plans to cover this one. For those of you confused, no, this is not Wang Chung, and no, it is not Spandau Ballet. This is actually the band Living in a Box, singing their hit top 20 single, Living in a Box, off of their debut album from 1987, Living in a Box. It's about living in a box. Hey, you remember this one? It goes, I'm living in a box. No? Or, maybe it was oh, living in a box. Okay, I'll be honest, I've never listened to this song before. From what I can gather, there's probably a reason for that. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that if this song is remembered at all, it's because of the novelty of a band with the same name as their only song. I mean, there are other bands like that, you know, Bad Company, Black Sabbath, Talk. But Living in a Box is unique in that that's their only song, and it wasn't even that big a song. I've certainly never heard it ever. I've heard of it, but it's certainly not something that stood the test of time. I don't even know if I'm reviewing this, really. It's more like I'm studying it, like ancient ruins. But you know, I've always said, if you want to get a feel for what any era of music was like, don't look at the stuff everyone remembers. Take a look at the stuff no one remembers. So let's dust off this particular 80s relic. What were you living in a box? And why were you living in a box? Okay, Living in a Box is three guys from Sheffield, England. Richard Derbyshire, Anthony Titch Critchlow, and Marcus Vere. They wrote a song about living in a box, and then they were like, why don't we name ourselves Living in a Box? So they did. Before that, Derbyshire was in a briefly successful band called the Zuzu Sharks. This was the 80s, so you can call your band things like Zuzu Sharks. This was a #1 hit. In Spain, granted, but you know, it's still a pretty big country. But Zuzu Sharks lasted about 3 songs before Derbyshire bailed on the group. Apparently he didn't like the band's pop direction, which I don't get because I've found their entire discography. It all sounds pretty much like Living in a Box did. So I don't know what he wanted different. And they never even released a full album, but I found this live performance, which I had to share. Oh my god, that shirt and that hair, that's wonderful. And while we're talking about hair and outfits, I want to talk to you a little about New Wave. Now, I've covered like 60 different New Wave acts on this show, but Living in a Box belongs to a very special, different subgenre that I have yet to dive into. Sophistopop.
My love and I, we are boxing clever.
Now, I'm sure you already have your own idea about what a new wave band is supposed to look like. First, you fill a bathtub with makeup products and you stick your face in it. After that, you put on the stupidest outfit you can find, something that makes you look like you're in a bad sci-fi movie. And finally, you stick your hand in a light socket, and whatever shape your hair is in after that, you make it stick with enough hairspray to mutate your DNA.
So if I say
Sophistopop, though, that was a little different. It was a special brand that was a little jazzier and more soulful, more mainstream, and emphasized being smooth and classy. And despite that, they gave it the ridiculous name Sophistopop. And the people who performed it, instead, they wore these, you know, sharp suits and doofy, preppy haircuts, which, you know, it's kind of ridiculous in its own way, I guess, but it was definitely less envelope pushing than most new wave. So if you wanted to sound like Duran Duran, but look like Huey Lewis, then this was your genre. So let's catch back up to where we started. Richard Derbyshire is trying to go it solo. He runs into 2 guys cutting a demo with a song about living in a box. They decide to collaborate. They start a band. Let's get to it. Okay, obviously the first thing you want to know is, you know, what the hell are they on about? Why are they writing about living in a box? I mean, I know all about living in a box, but that's because I live in New York City. I'm actually filling this in a shipping container. It's only $2,200 a month, you know, so it's not bad. But anyway, living in a box is obviously significant to you guys. You named the band after it. Why?
The song came first, and then we decided to name the band after the song. But the song's basically about a friend of ours living in Sheffield, and I went to see him one day, and he said, "I'm literally living in a box." So I thought, right, we'll write a song about it.
Well, there you have it. Clearly, this is a song about homelessness. You know, for a song about a really depressing issue, this is awfully upbeat. Okay, my mistake. This is I don't think this is about their homeless friend at all. It's a metaphor. Not a very specific one, but a metaphor for you know, being trapped, being caged in somehow. Yeah, like you've been sealed in a plastic bag and you're busting out. I wonder how their friend felt knowing about that. Oh man, my situation inspired you to write a song about me. Wow, that's so great knowing that it struck a nerve with you guys and now it's gonna touch the lives of people around the world. Oh, the song just has a single phrase that I used once. And it has nothing to do with me. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just go back to my box. Hey, you gonna finish that bagel? I haven't really eaten in a... I'm just gonna go. But at the very least, it hits with force, you know. I'm living in a box! Okay, hold on a moment. Is this a metaphor or not? Because when you specify that it's a cardboard box, it starts to sound pretty literal. Like, even if it is a metaphor, why is it a cardboard box? You figured out how to break through a cardboard box. Good for you? That's the go-to metaphor for something that doesn't trap you at all. Actually, hold on. Is it I'm a living in a box or am I living in a box? I don't know. Not really sure it makes sense either way. Oh, okay, let's be clear. The lyrics are not why this song got successful. It's mostly about that slamming, all-in-your-face wall of synth and Derbyshire's booming bass. Yeah, makes you want to dance. It's a very forceful song. Incidentally, that's also probably the reason you don't hear this song much anymore. Let's be clear. This hasn't aged well. It's all a little much. It's just so very loud and blaring, and not to mention if you did like it, there are better songs that sound just like it. You are an obsession, you're my obsession. Matter of fact, I'm not sure why this band is labeled sophistopop at all. Like most of the stuff I checked out from this genre was a lot smoother and not so in your face. Like, in fact, with some of the riffs in it kind of sounds more like Hey, stop that. No, none of that. Okay, but yes, anyway, this is the song that put Living in a Box on the map. They were huge. Okay, no, they weren't. That's probably another reason you don't hear it much anymore. It wasn't that big to begin with. I mean, number 5 in the UK, that's pretty good. Only number 17 over here. Better than most people, but you know, it's not like world conquering. I mean, look at this. Here's a song that's popular right now.
It's just me, myself, and I.
Got way higher than number 17, and you're not gonna remember it next year, let alone in 30 years. So yeah, there's a reason why this faded away. But what about their other songs?
Everybody, every day tries to tip the scales of justice. Everybody, every day tries to tip the scales of justice.
If I had to summarize the number one thing I discovered doing One Hit Wonderland, it is this. There is just an unfathomable amount of mediocre music in the world. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not something anyone's gonna really care about for more than a second. Like, even the Hot 100, which measures the most popular songs in the country, the ones people want to hear more than anything else in the world, is mostly made up of mediocrity. So as I listened to this failed follow-up, Scales of Justice, which did not chart, all I can say is, well, yeah, there's a reason this follow-up failed. It's not very good. Sounds like soundtrack filler for a bad 80s movie. Now, like most of the British acts I cover, they did better in their home country, but in this case, not by a whole lot. A couple of their songs hit the top 10, but most just barely scraped into the top 40, if that. Well, anyway, let's look at their next one. So the Story Goes. Oh yeah, I remember this. This is a chemical plant zone from Sonic 2, right? I don't know why we thought this particular synth tone was ever good. I guess it was still new, but in hindsight, we can firmly say this is terrible, right? What the hell were you thinking? They did release a second album called Gate Crashing. I'd say it did a little better than the first. Not in this country, but, you know, they had a few top 10 hits in the UK. You know, this is the first single off of that, Blow the House Down.
We've got what it takes. Together we can make it. Together we can blow the house down. Blow the house down.
I don't see the big deal. I mean, blowing the house down is easy when your house is a box. Actually, this is my favorite one yet. It's no hip to be square, but, you know, this is a good yuppie party song, right? Drink some Bartles and James, play some croquet. The big problem is Wang Chung definitely got to this first, but, you know, I don't mind it, you know. But that actually wasn't their biggest follow-up. Their biggest follow-up was called Room in Your Heart, which actually got to number 5 in the UK, the same peak as their first hit. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's check that out.
I know this must be the room in your heart.
Boring. No. Living in a Box would never release a third album. Apparently there was some label shakeups, and they eventually broke up because of creative differences with the record executives. You see, Derbyshire wanted to go in a direction that sucked, but the label wanted them to focus more on being lame. Nah, I'm being mean. Apparently, they wanted the band to tone down their sound, which is, it's hilarious. They weren't Megadeth or anything. But, they also weren't Chicago. So yeah, if that's what the label wanted them to be, screw them. Break up instead.
'Cause honey, I know I've been holding back too long.
Derbyshire eventually released a solo album or two in the 90s, did some songwriting work for Level 42, which is another sophistopop band that only had one hit over here. And he did a lot of work with Lisa Stansfield. Yeah, you remember her, right? He was like, been around the world and I can't find... Yeah, you remember that. Well, it turned out she had a pretty long career in the 90s. Who knew? Never really found out what happened to the two other guys. I assume they went on to live in a box. Well, maybe not better exactly, but I can see, how they kind of... No, they didn't. I do this show because I enjoy breaking down different genres, laughing at funny outfits, exploring things people forgot, but just listening to this music, no, I can pretty much do without living in a box. I'm happy to leave that one behind. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to stick all this in a box. Because, that's where this belongs, in a cardboard box that you tape up with duct tape and you stick it in the garage, along with all your other shit from the 80s that you never threw out.
I'm living in a box.
I'm living in a box. I'm living in a cardboard box. I'm living in a box.